Hello, this is William Mountaineering. You caught me drinking some water out of an old glass bottle. Hello again. This tarot reading is for masterofcircumstances.tumblr.com. Thank you for donating. Thank you for being patient. I just want to let you know up front that I am going to get up in 10 minutes to readjust music because after the last recording, I figured out that I don't really like it when it's quiet and echoey with no background music when I'm doing this. So, these cards are very shuffled. In case you don't know, you Master of Circumstances, or you viewer of this video, in case you don't know, the way that I do my full spreads is I do a 10-card spread in the shape of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, which maybe when I get up to fix the music, I'll grab a poster of it from somewhere around the Ouija Club. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Right, so, 10-card spread. I turn the cards over 3 at a time, going down to the 10th card, and the last card, Malkuth, and then I break down, put it together, and I describe this as the tree as a map, although it is happening at the same time. It's easier to think about it as a map. So we will go through your little road trip through the map and have it all explained in good time. So these cards are very shuffled. Again, this is the 4th take, and I'm just fucking doing it. So I'm going to cut these for Master of Circumstances. Really good 3 there. So, and the music that we're listening to is Flood from San Francisco. It's my buddy Eli's band. They play every so often. They're really good. It's very sleep. The bass. Anyway. So, in your hometown, your starting point where you're created and where you're moving away from is, if I can get it, is 217, the star. This is Aquarius. This is according to Crowley Head. So I like to call this card the universal principle of self-worth. Excuse me. So this is basically, this is Aquarius the water bearer. She is not water herself. She, is the vehicle for the water. So this is, I like to think of this card as, this is trusting that you are, as Crowley said, every man and every woman is a star, the individual. This is trusting that your individual is a worthy vehicle to transmit whatever is flowing through you and out. So, that's where you're starting from. What is the highway moving you out of your hometown is the 5 of discs, worry. So, like all 5s, this is the human or the microcosmic, the small scale number or card. In this case, discs, earth, normal world stuff, material world stuff. You stand up and stick your arms and legs out. You make a 5-pointed star. So this is like the human aspect of the material world. Astrologically, this is Mercury in Taurus. So this is the intellect, this is the magic parts, sort of stuck in the Taurus, the bold, the hard work, the actual labor of doing, getting your hands dirty in the thing. This is more or less just worrying that you'll get stuck doing things that you don't want to do in order to kind of get by. Pish posh. This is understanding your boundaries as a person and where you lie, and then attempting to transcend them is how you get through this. So over in Binah, Binah is ruled by Saturn. It is the third card, so it's the first shape. So this is structure and order. This is the first place that you get to on your road trip where you stop your car and you take all your stuff out that you hastily threw in and then you put it back in the way that makes sense. So here is Atu 20, the Eon. This is Shin. I don't even know if you can see that. Shin and Fire. So basically the Eon is the idea that, you know, as humans and humanity, we have these periods in our existence where we have a different understanding and therefore a different way of going about doing things. This is like, you can't explain to a teenager what it's like to be turning 30 in like 2 weeks. You can't, you know, explain to a middle-aged person what being elderly is like. I mean, you can try, but you don't really get it until you're there. You know, this is the idea of coming to a new period in your life where you're going to have a new way of going about doing things because you have a whole new understanding. It's a new level of understanding of the way that things are in your life, in your world, in your universe. You know, and then doing that. So in the foreground of this card, again, don't know how well you can see it, but you have a little four-part crot there, giving the international sign of silence, shut the fuck up. And this has to do with, while you're going through this process, this is about not going out and, like, you know, telling it on the mountaintop. This is sitting with and trying to wrap your head around this new, like, change and this new thing that's going on. So, moving on down the tree. Ooh, all fives in a row. So, and Hesed is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter has to do with benevolence and influence. This is sort of, I like to think of this as like how you're putting stuff out. So the Five of Cups, disappointment. Again, and it's right under the Five of Discs, which is a little interesting, and I'm sure that that'll prove to be more interesting as this goes on. So again, this is the human aspect of, in this case, water, so emotions. Mars in Scorpio, this is Scorpio, I like to think of, you know, symbolically in this case, I like to think of Scorpio as the dark water where the, you know, the undertow and the tide, or not the tide, the current, the currents are strong and the mud's kicked up a little bit so you can't see things clearly, you only see outlines. So this is not really seeing things very clearly. This is emotionally sort of like feeling your like limitations. And you know, this is, I think it's important to understand that when you think about emotions in a human personal level, it is always disappointing because people are not meant to fulfill our emotions. That's not what other people are here for. You know, you're here to create your own world and to create your own range of feeling, and recognize your boundaries with that. So, one second. Run back. I hope that doesn't have a commercial. So, across the board, I'm really sorry, by the way. It's just the silence and the echo. Like, it's a strange room. Maybe like right when I'm done with the reading, I'll turn the camera around so you can sort of see what's going on in here. It's very vast. Anyway, so moving on from the Five of Cups disappointment. Basically, understand your limitations, understand other people's limitations, and try to like get a clearer idea of what is going on. Maybe try to swim up from the bottom of the river that's moving too fast. So, across the board here is 210. So you can have fortune. Fortune is Koph. Fortune is Jupiter, so benevolence, influence, and this is in Gvura, which is ruled by Mars. So basically, this is your outings, like what you are trying to accomplish, your actual actions toward, and what you're trying to create. That things are getting better. This is basically the Wheel of Fortune is the three aspects of life. Well, three of the aspects of life. It's generalization, but you know. So you have Set, Slovak, whatever, the Destroyer. That's just shitty stuff. That's the negative stuff that's just taking away and destroying. You have this Hanuman, tricky ape guy who fucks stuff up and is sort of he works in misleading and misdirection. And then there's the Sphinx, the symbol of total patience. And Sphinxes are generally face east so they can look upon the sunset. This is the idea of in your influence, in what you are going about, the things that you're trying to accomplish. This is basically things are starting to turn around. The Wheel of Fortune is starting to turn around. Things are starting to change. Wait for the sunrise. So, in Tifra, the sun, the center, the heart, this is the center of gravity that is holding all of these other things sort of in place, is the Prince of Cups, the airy part of water. So, what is water as air? That's steam. So, steam is what happens to water when things get too hot. It changes form and it leaves. So this is being like the steam, emotionally being like steam. If things get too hot, this is moving. This is sort of staying above the fray. Steam isn't like water. Water is, it is connected to the ground. Steam has that air in it, so it's got more mobility. This has to do a little bit with emotional intelligence. This really just has to do with knowing, I guess this is this is emotional intelligence. This is basically the heart, what's central to all of the stuff that's going on here is really knowing when to remove yourself emotionally from situations, knowing when to change form, if not remove yourself. So, moving down the tree. And again, I'm going to come back to all this. So, down here in Netzach, which is ruled by Venus, which is love, beauty, growth. This is the part of your road trip where you figure out your personal takeaway from everything that's happened. You as a person, as an individual, or not, you as a personality, right? What you are going to take away from this. So this is the Six of Wands victory. So the sixes in the number cards in the tarot are pretty much like the idealized version of the suit. So this is kind of, this is fireworked out really well. Everything, this is taking individual actions and sort of gearing everything toward, everything working together to create, better functioning. This is each individual action intersecting with another action in a way that builds on the whole of what you are doing, what you are trying to accomplish. So this basically, all of this business just sort of starts to reset you, not reset, but sort of set you up to function and to get things done in a better way. The necessity of remove yourself from situations. So, In Hod, which is ruled by Mercury, language, communication, intelligence. Mercury is the messenger god, the go-between for such famous dicks as, Zeus and folks. So, this is also magic. Hermes is Mercury. So, anyway, here we have the Atu for the Emperor. The Emperor is Aries. The Emperor is basically, this is the energizing force of spring. Aries is the zodiac sign that comes up for the sun goes into Aries during the spring equinox. So this is things getting closer together, the earth getting closer to the sun, and the sun, that energizing latent growth. This is the possibility of energizing. This is also formulated masculine energy. This is that sort of formulated solid phallic energy that drives on and can impregnate. All of this is fucking out of an article. I'm not talking about people getting knocked out. Anyway, so in Yesod is ruled by Luna, the moon. This is receptivity. This is what you are taking in and thus then reflecting out. So here is a card that was in the last spread also is a 214 art, used to be called temperance. This is the alchemical art. This is dividing things, taking them apart, taking out the things that you don't want, adding in some shit that you do want, putting them back together. This is taking the solute coagula. This is the solute coagula and Baphomet. This is the great work. This is the actual work of the great work, though. This is, heating up the kennel and purifying. This is purifying by fire. This is actually doing the work that changes the substance that you're working with, which is you. So, in Malkuth, the waking up, taking a shit and going to work world. I don't know why I say that, but it's true, it's all it is. Malkuth is your normal world, your everyday existence of matter and things that you touch, and money, and rent, and student loans, and whatever else. So, here in Malkuth, the card that we have is the Princess of Wands. So this is the earthy part of fire, thus the fuel for the fire. I like to explain this card in this way. So, you are going to have a long night that could possibly be cold, and you only have a set amount of wood to burn, because you don't have a heater, or no electricity, I don't fucking know, whatever. You only have a set amount of wood to burn for what you're doing, which is trying not to freeze and you have a long night. So, what do you do with the wood? Do you burn, make huge fire, and try to heat the place up all at once and hope it holds the heat? Do you, feed it in slowly? I like to think of this as the pacing yourself card. There is only so much of you to burn up in doing things. You have to be sure to take care of, and remember, this is in Malkuth, this is in your everyday world. This is like taking care of yourself so you're not burning yourself out. So, there are 3 pillars of the tree of life. There's the pillar of mercy, which is how you feel about things and how you deal with people in relationships. There's the pillar of severity, which is doing things, how you do things, and how you're doing things, and how you think about things. And then there's the middle pillar, which is balancing those 2 sides without going crazy. So, the pillar of mercy, basically you have, over the abyss, you have the 2 5s mirroring each other. You have you have the human aspect of, material things, money type stuff, and emotional type stuff. And, I mean, maybe this is like this has to do with figuring out and making known your boundaries when it comes to things like money and, love and emotions. And also recognizing that other people have boundaries. And sort of and also yourself being the most, this is being as active and intentional in your life as you can be. So, the other side of things, the doing and the thinking, the less to do with folks, you have basically a new way, you are coming to a new understanding of how you are doing things based on your new understanding of the world. It's starting to come in. This card is descending into Malkuth. It's coming into being. You just have to sort of sit with it, sort of start to understand that you are looking at things differently, you're observing things differently, and you're going to act differently. You're going to act accordingly. Sit with that, figure out what that means for you. What you are doing, what you're trying to accomplish, things are changing, things are turning around, things are improving. Be patient. Get your resources together. It's almost springtime. It's time to plant. Understand that you are building toward this new growth springtime thing. Understand that for yourself and communicate that. So, Kabbalistic saying Keter is in Malkuth, and Malkuth is in Keter. It's like saying as above, so below, or everything is part of everything else, depending on where you're looking at it from. So, you have 17, the Star, Aquarius, and the Princess of Wands. This is using yourself and trusting yourself and working with yourself as the vessel to put forth and to communicate, or not to communicate, but the water, to let these things flow through you. This is trusting yourself but not burning yourself out. This is saving some to make sure you got enough. This is not putting all of it in at once and torching yourself, basically. This is trust yourself, be the vehicle for all of that wonderful, watery, intuitive, emotional stuff, but this is an action that you're taking. You're a vehicle that gets wear and tear. Be aware of that and act accordingly. And speaking of emotional stuff, this is the center here, the Prince of Cups. This is, I think in a way, this is sort of some steam coming off of this Temperance card. The way of accomplishing all of this stuff, basically, is by being able to know when to change form and move past. This is being a little bit more amiable instead of just in a solid form so much. This is be steam emotionally, intuitively, be steam more than ice. Because there's some more fire happening here that's taking away some shit, some layers of shit, and some, internal things, or, you're sweating it out. This is, I don't know if you've ever seen The Holy Mountain, but this is, being in that tube, and, all of the impurities are being flushed out of you. So basically, the idea here is, trust yourself in what you're doing, pace yourself, try not to throw everything in at once. Try to recognize when things are heating up and emotionally be able to change form, and allow yourself, be patient with this whole process, but things are changing and getting better, and you've got an opportunity to actually do things and accomplish things in a new way that you have not done before or yet. Ta-da! So, again, this is for masterofcircumstances.tumblr.com. I am Holy Mountaineering. This is a hepigram. That was a really good reading, and I'm out. Oh, and that's Om conference of birds. And I'm